And live from South Beach, FSB Racing has taken their talents down to South Beach, just like LeBron, and racing at the Homestead-Miami Speedway here in the Aero 88 Series Friday night. Big field, great track, fast. Got to work the high line to make a fast lap. Got to use the inside to pass, which is not easy. This should make for a very entertaining race, in my opinion, humble opinion. And quickly looking at qualifying here at Homestead-Miami. Sean Johnson on the pole. Jeff Hale second. Derby Don third. Some good runs there by the boys, and some guys, namely one interesting. I do not see the 18 car on the qualifying list, but I do see him in the house. So nonetheless, Sean Johnson on the pole, Jeff Hale outside pole. Homestead-Miami Speedway, 107 laps tonight. How many they shall run? 1.5 mile oval. Not a lot of banking, kind of flat as you see, only 6 degrees of banking, but I don't think that's correct. I think that's the old configuration. This new one has significant banking, as you can clearly see. So some updating needed on the info there, but it is a 1.5 mile oval. It used to look a little like a mini Indy, but now it's a traditional, much more traditional style 1.5 mile oval. Front and back stretch are the same. No D shape here for Homestead-Miami. And you can see the boys working their happy hour here. And I should shortly be joined by FSB expert and multiple race winner, multiple champion in multiple divisions, Milt Mintner Jr. And look forward for seeing Milty again in the booth. Missed him on the Pro Cup Wednesday race. And I think he's back in the house and will be joining us shortly.
Hey, what's up, fellow race fans? What's up?
There he is.
I think we're too late to get hooked up on the server, so I'm gonna be like on a 3-second delay. Just got back into town. Boy, my arms are tired.
Just flew back in and your arms are tired, Milty?
Yes, sir.
Well, we're working happy hour right now, Milty. It's just coming to a close. And Sean Johnson on the pole. Big field. And I like this track, Milty. It's fast. It's hard to pass. So when you do go to pass, even if you're the faster car, you may not get around the guy for several laps. You really got to work it here. And watching practice, there was a whole lot of spinning going on.
Yeah, this was my 39th Pro Cup victory a couple of years ago. Ran out of gas in like turn 3 and had a teammate bump me and just barely made it across the line in front of Matt Watkins. Of course, that was years ago. Took a long time to get number 40. And this track is a trip. It's the modern version. No, this is the 2003 version.
No, yeah, this is the day to night version, Milty, not the old school one.
Drivers to your car.
It has a lot more banking and
yes,
definitely a challenge to pit. Going down pit road is going to be something you're going to have to watch here if and when we have green flag stops, because they got to go into that little access road and make that turn with grass all around them,
right,
and not make a mistake.
Absolutely, Milty, and that's where if you push it and are successful, you can really be rewarded. And if you push it and you're not successful, you can really be punished. So yeah, that will be really interesting if we get some green flag stops, how guys will maneuver that access road, which is unlimited speed. You can go as fast as you want on the access road till you hit those cones, and then you got to get down on the brakes. So it's make that turn at your own risk, Milty.
Yeah, and you're turning and trying to slow down, trying to judge your speed from 175, 180 miles an hour down to 45 miles an hour. It's a huge challenge.
All right, well, the cars are out on the track, Milty, and they're going to make their parade lap here. How about a pick, Milty, before we get the green flag?
Well, I've really enjoyed your broadcast when I was out on helping Mom and Dad out there in Tehachapi, and did a great job. And I've been looking at one of the hard luck cases here. It's got to be the 49 of Derby Dawn. It's just had, if he didn't have bad luck, he wouldn't have no luck at all. So I'm going to try to get him out off the schneid here, and I'm picking the 49.
And as we scroll through that field, Milty, you'll notice who is at nearly the very, very back. Points leader. 18 car Robert Bokum starting from the rear.
Yeah, he's got this baby wrapped up, I believe, huh? No, so but we saw Matt Watkins watching your great broadcast there Wednesday night go from the he was in the rear with the gear to the victory. So these guys can do it.
Oh, they certainly can. And if your name's Matt Watkins or Robert Bokum, there's no doubt you can do it. And Sean getting ready to lead us down to the green flag. Green flag flies, and we are underway here at Miami Homestead. 107 laps, Milty. Didn't catch the fuel window, but I believe it's somewhere in the mid-20s.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I'm about 5 seconds behind you here, so I'll try not to yell out when I see stuff because it'll probably already have happened. But,
yeah, you'll probably already have heard about it from me and just enjoy watching it and knowing what's coming.
Absolutely.
But right now, Jeff Hale powers on the outside, bumps the wall, but the momentum carries him right by Sean Johnson into the lead. Mark DeSenza gets on the inside of Sean and takes the second position. You really got to pass. The driving line here is high. Passing is low. Oh, we got a spinner, Milty. Looks like the 72 of Mike Pruitt spinning through the grass. And we do have a caution out. Looks like Mike maybe bumped the inside wall, but looking at the ride there, the bumper, rear bumper looks to be a little pressed in. Front of the car looks okay, so maybe a little bumping and banging in the pits, and he'll be good to go. Stays on the lead lap. That's what's important here.
Oh boy, yeah. Watching the replay there, he just got loose there. You have to charge these corners so much. This is really a fast track. I mean, you just lift and get on the gas like most tracks. 1 and 2 is different than 3 and 4, and 3 and 4 is really interesting because it has like that flat spot in the middle, but you can actually get on the gas earlier than you think. And but turn 2 is the one. Turn 2 and turn 4, like just as you saw Mike get loose there, the Texas native there. Tough luck. I don't know if didn't look like he hit anything though.
He might have bumped the inside wall, but yeah, it looked like the back end of the car might have hit the inside wall a little. He'll get that fixed up though. So caution is out, Milty. Jeff Hale is our leader. Tell us a little about Jeff Hale, Milty, for those who aren't too familiar with Jeff, since he hasn't really been running the full seasons.
Well, Jeff is the best passer in this league, and that's wide open, and by evidence of his super speedway championship, what we want to see here is how he does on the long runs. But once he gets behind you, you do not want to see the 29 behind you because he's going to get by you. He's going to work you, and if you try to defend against him, you're just going to use your stuff up too. So he's an excellent passer. He does it clean, but forcefully but clean. He just knows how to get those passes on the exit of corners.
And there we see that access road cones there, Milty, that you're talking about. That's where they'll be entering pit lane, as you can see, almost entering into turn 3. Instead of going into 3, you get into the access lane there. And once you cross those cones, Milty, you're committed. If you roll out onto the track, you're black flagged. And there you see the other set of cones, and that's the limit line there. I believe this game does allow pitting off of 4. However, FSB and admin discussions, I believe, have directed that the access road be used, so there's less chances of mayhem. Because coming off that turn 4, Milty, I've tried it before. Man, you can really get out of shape there because you're going 150 miles an hour trying to stop to get down to about 45 in like 1,000 feet, and it just doesn't happen.
Yeah, and you have access roads on entry and exit.
Yeah, so it evens the playing field. You can, like I said, I think you can make a lot of hay on these access roads if you drive them hard and careful. You just cannot afford to get on the grass, though, as you said, Milty, because then you're along for the ride.
And this is one of the tracks that even I'm not a very good clutcher. When we talk about clutching, it's our way of saving fuel under the run, and this is one of the tracks though that I've been able to pull it off and without crashing the car, because it's very difficult to push the clutch in and then pick up the throttle and get back on it. You can charge the corner a little bit harder and then lift, and then you got to give it a little bit of rev when if we get long green flag runs at the end of the race, you're going to see guys, they're going to try to make, I believe up to 34 laps, and maybe more you can do here.
Yeah, tire wear could play a factor here if we do get the long runs. You can, if you not careful in some of these turns, you can really use up your gear because the car is slightly unstable getting in and out, just because of the nature of the speed that you need to carry around these turns.
And also clutching, these guys will be clutching under caution here to save fuel every inch. They know that's a determining factor as the pace car lights go off.
Absolutely, Milty, and as in Pro Cup, maybe a little less so in this series, especially when there's big fields. You can almost have a feel that there's going to be at least one long green run with a pit stop, and when you have that mentality, that could be the whole race. The cautions will keep the field bunched, but that one green flag stop can really separate the winners from the losers, and who the good ones are, and the ones who we've seen make mistakes that costed them, Milty. So let's see what we do here at Homestead as we're getting ready to go back green. Jeff Hale leads them down.
Yeah, I wish I had the force like Oda, but I think it's a pretty good bet that the 29 will stay in the lead early. Question is whether or not he can temper his speed, and otherwise we'll see like we saw on your broadcast Wednesday, guys coming from nowhere looking like they're just way faster, but the reality is they just saved their stuff.
Absolutely, Milty, and we know who's good at saving stuff, but when you're good at saving stuff, Milty, and you're at the back of the field, is that a concern?
Not really, not early, and you'd rather be in the top 5. But at this point, I think the race Pro Cup won. I raced at one. I started 17th. So
Well, we got a possible action at the lead here as Mark DeSenza gets on the inside of Jeff Hale going down the front stretch. And as we get into one, they're side by side. Jeff going up high. You can race up high here. There's lots of grip up high. Keep your momentum, and you can slingshot off these turns and really get some momentum down the straightaways. As Jeff just showed there, he slung down that straightaway and got right back even with Mark, and they're still side by side into 3.
yeah, out mid to outside line is good. As we look at the 6, looking to make the pass there.
And finally, Mark is successful in making the pass, but Jeff working that high line and trying to get that momentum off the Kern. Mark running a little lower line. But the field stretching out and behind him. A lot of single file racing. There we see the 303 of Ken Ron getting on the inside of Mike Sanders. So some good run early there by Mike Sanders up in the and we got caution out, Milty. Caution is out. Looks like maybe T-Roy got in a scrape there, Milty.
Well, Troy was one of those cars that, that was such a battle in that Cup race Wednesday night.
No, it wasn't. Unfortunately, it wasn't T-Roy. It was the 72 of Mike Pruitt again. Got loose, but this time, different results. Hard into the outside wall, Milty. And I think that might end his night, unfortunately.
Well, we saw that happen twice to... yeah, that's 2 caution flags. That could be 2 incidents for him. He's probably going to need to park it.
Yeah,
we saw that happen to Derby Wednesday night.
Yeah, we saw it happen to Derby as well, Milty. And
whoa, T-Roy just missed him there.
Yeah, unfortunately for Mike Pruitt, he is out of the race. First victim of Miami Homestead, finishing in 25th place. Everyone else still on the lead lap, 24 cars. Pit stops commencing. There we see Robert Bokum way in the back. In fact, Robert Bokum with the very last pit stall.
Well, that's a good stall. That's a good stall to have because you get in real quick and obviously the first stall is the best, but if you're going to be towards the back, that's what you want to do there.
And you see everyone creeping off of pit lane, 45 miles an hour, Milty.
There's the people in the pits. Somebody is cockeyed there. Couldn't see what car. It looked like the 8 car, maybe.
And there we see Sean on the access road. And the other thing, Milty, that we haven't talked about this access road is if you're not careful on the caution, you can pass people without realizing it, and you'll be black flagged for passing under yellow.
Yeah, if there's cars on the track and you have to make sure that don't pass them.
Yeah, it's a fine balancing act with your, I guess what you would say, your F2 screen, Milty. You got to watch those intervals and keep that guy in front of you, ahead of you in that interval spread, because if you pass him without knowing it and then you cross that second line, you're doomed. That's a stop and go penalty, and green has to be out for you to do that black flag, which means definitely a loss of a lap and most likely any chance of winning.
We see what happened to the 70 there, and I'll use it as the example again Wednesday night with Derby Dawn. These are fixed setups, but so everybody's running the same setup, but everybody's got different wheels, different rigs, different computers, and different steering settings, and definitely you want to get as much forward bite in the car as you can, but at the same time, when you get too much, like we saw with Mike there, he was turning the wheel in an area where he kind of wanted it to be more the car more freer, and then rolling off the gas. So we'll have to see that affects some of these other guys.
Yeah, plus Mike did have a little rear end damage, Milty, and maybe a slight loss of downforce, which here is very crucial as you enter these turns at such high speeds. You got to have that spoiler really forcing down the back end of the car. There we see a few more guys on pit lane here as the lights are now out on the pace car. So we are getting ready to go back green flag racing. And in the exchange of those pit stops, Milty, Jeff Hale was able to reassume the lead. TG Reese up in second. Mark DeSenza third. TG up to second now. So good run so far early on here for our pal TG, who won earlier in the year, Milty. So I'm sure he's feeling good right now.
Yeah, he's had an up and down season, and you see by him taking a win that he's capable of doing it again. It's just a question of racing's funny like that. All these guys are so talented that we see the domination from the 18, the 15, and the 6, but any of these guys are capable of winning this race, especially if we get some long green flag runs.
Absolutely, Milty. Absolutely, and what we don't see, Milty, all the other days of the week that there's racing here at FSB. Man, I'll tell you, you got any series you show up for a race in, you better show up, or you're gonna finish last.
Yep, suit up and show up.
Absolutely. Green flag is back out. Jeff back in the lead, and he got pressed really hard by Mark DeSenza in that last start, and actually only led about 2 laps. Be interesting to see now with TG behind him and Mark behind TG if the same thing happens, or if Jeff maybe has learned something from that first run.
Well, we did see him scrape wall just gently on the first lap, but appears to be no damage and just a little bit of cosmetic.
Absolutely, and TG really racing hard on the inside, but unfortunately, as I mentioned, if you negotiate a pass to the inside and are not successful, you can be very severely punished with the loss of speed and momentum. But TG able to hold off DeSenza wasn't easy. He kind of wedged himself. Oh, now he got just a little loose as they cross the start-finish line. And caution is back out, though. Not related to the TG getting loose there.
Well, these guys are having a little trouble getting going here. And that, oh, boy.
And I see that Pops looks beat up, Milty. And we got a smoker, and that looks like the 88 of Joe Cutt smoking.
Oh, that's just probably, the most consistent driver that I've seen this season broadcasting on Wednesdays and aside from and Fridays, aside from the obvious guys.
Oh, Milty. Now that we, wow. Wow, that was actually a pretty severe wreck, and it wasn't Joe Cutt's doing, unfortunately.
Oh, that thing is blowed up.
But what we'll see here, Milty, and I'll try to go slow so it catches up to you. It looked like the 12 car. And if I can maneuver to the 12 car.
Oh boy!
The 12 car of Sean Sheaves, Milty, who was someone who was here a while back and is making a return to FSB. It looks like he got in high into that turn, Milty, and you can just see by the picture that I'm showing right now that you'll be seeing you can see he's already kind of lost the car right there.
Well, Sean Sheaves is one of the original 8.
And
And,
he got loose and collected Pop's Joe Cut, and the dog unfortunately got caught up in the wreck as everyone's kind of came to a crashing stop around him. So 4-car melee there, Milty, and yeah, there's been some wrecking going on. And as I said, Milty, watching practice as I did, there was a whole lot of wrecking going on in practice too. And sometimes that doesn't translate. But the wrecking I saw in practice was more guys losing it and not, bumping each other just for horsing around or not, being as careful as they would be normally.
Wow. You see that Ken Hansen and somebody else got through there too. Excellent move. That's what we talk about. Do you see smoke? Slow down. It's a no-brainer. This isn't Days of Thunder, and of course, everybody did that, but the 108 was unfortunate. But you see, like 3 cars down below there that had a little more time to make take evasive action.
And of course, Milty, Dog does drive a special rig. So sometimes evasive action like that, when you have to go from 170 to 0 almost to avoid something, maybe not as easy negotiated for him as maybe for me or you. Well, for you just go plowing in anyways, but at least for me, I'll say.
Well, we talk. He's one of our handicapped drivers. Den is a paraplegic, and it's amazing what he does. I mean, we've seen, and at some point we're going to put that video up of him racing there with the back of his hands. But Dog, he doesn't have the use of his feet, so he drives with hand controls, and he's mastered that. Won a championship rookie truck.
Absolutely. I raced against them all last season, and the guy was a model to consistency, Milty. I think out of the 20 race season, I think he had probably 16, 17, 18 top 10s. And why he didn't win a race, he was the champion because he was the best out of all 20 races.
Yeah, he told me he was going to do that, and I said, "Yeah, okay, yeah, good luck with that." But because you never really know. And he said, "I'm going to win one of these championships this year," and he did exactly that.
And there we see Dan in the 16 car, Milty, as you just mentioned, cruising around with his boss there right behind him, Robert Bokum. And also, Milty, talk about the 8 car for us real quick for people unfamiliar with the 8. Dino he's been racing a little more lately, which is great to see. Den's brother, I believe.
Yeah, and they're both from right up the road from me in Madera, California, which is it's just a damn shame life is so busy, because one of these days I want to meet these guys. They're just right up the road, but busy, and but Dino's been coming on strong, and really doesn't have the track experience as his brother, and nobody. I remember when Robert Bokum first came here, and he talked about Den, and you got to see this guy, how amazing he is, and explain to us his disabilities and stuff. And but I didn't know he had a brother that raced, and Dino's kind of still new, and he's picking it up and getting stronger. Always very consistent, and I look for great things from the 8 car.
Yeah, me too, Milty. I'm glad to see him. Looks like he's coming out a little more and more as the latter half of this season, so that's nice to see. I always like seeing guys, that maybe don't have the time. Something goes on in their life, schedule change, and all of a sudden they have some time opened up and they jump on, and I like seeing that.
That's a great thing about FSB. 11 years, we're going to be here,
Yeah.
And So as we go back racing here,
Yeah, and I think Mark DeSenza is going to be there as he almost uses the same blueprint, Milty, as that two previous restarts. Goes around Jeff Hale again, just after about 1.5 laps into this run. So Mark likes leading. We know that. But we know Jeff Hale does too, so that's an interesting dynamic there at the front. But now Derby Don, the 191 of Mike Sanders and 303 of Ken Ron, also showing some strength as we finally try to get some green laps under our belt here.
It looks like the 29's a little tight on the exit, and the 6 is able to change his line there, which we saw Derby Don try Wednesday night, and they would spin, Boy, we got a battle here. Mike Sanders coming up here to get a piece of this.
Yeah, Mike Sanders is looking real strong, and again, Mike is a guy that, unfortunately, I'm sure through life and work and whatnot, just can't make a full season at this time. But when he's out there, Milty, he makes some noise.
Yeah, this is a professional racing league, and everybody's so good, and to win a race here is Mike's always fast, and but it's so hard to win and put the whole deal together, and it takes track time, repetitions to do that.
Yeah, it does, Milty. We see Mark still continues to have a slight lead over Jeff, but it looks like Jeff has settled in nicely now. It looks like he's running a slightly lower line than he was in the previous run, so maybe he's going to doing some schooling there on Mark DeSenza.
I like what the 29's doing here. I know this guy very well. We've done a lot of test sessions, and
I think we got a caution out again, Milty.
Oh boy, he's really reinventing himself, and this could be good for him.
And just, Milty, we're not going to talk about anyone else for the rest of the race, because every time you talk about someone, something bad happens to them.
The power of the dark side.
I think we're watching the 8, and actually, oh my goodness gracious. There's carnage at the back of the field, Milty. I'll give you a few seconds for this to queue up for you, but
all right. At least when they're wrecking good.
Yeah, that was a good wreck.
Well, Homestead's always special in my heart. This was the last track my dad drove before he passed away. On the road course. Oh my gosh! Oh.
And I guess Milty just saw that replay there.
Chihuahua.
Yeah, it looks like Troy Higgins in the 19 car got loose ahead of the 8, and a test. I mean, I'm gonna run this again, but as we watch the ensuing wreck, just a huge hit. Yeah, Dino doing a 360 in the air before landing back down on the track, and then unfortunately it looked like Dog got caught up again in someone else's mess for the second time. Dog's got a beat up car from someone else's misfortunes. But Milty, I'm gonna show this one more time because I think I caught something that it's quite interesting.
Troy Higgins, wow, the Geico car.
Yeah, you don't see Troy Higgins make too many mistakes like that, Milty. Unusual for him. But Milty, I'm gonna rewind this one more time, and I caught something right at the beginning of this wreck. The wreck is happening off the screen as we see Dino again. But what happened was, I'm gonna run this slow here. As they started slowing down, Dino was a little late on the brakes than Robert Bochum, who was right in front of him. And as they started slowing down, Dino realized that he was about to slam right into the back of Robert Bochum, and unselfishly just cut the wheel to the right. And he would have.
So much is going on. And you would expect the 18. Of course, he's up front farther there, so he's seeing it happen, and the 8's, focused on his line, and then he just a split second, he didn't see it as fast as the 18 slows down, because the 18 realizes that the 19 could come back down, so he's going low, and the 8 just missed it. You can see the 17, his reaction time was also, later, and he just had the benefit of being back and, up in the catch fence, the 8. Hopefully no fans were injured in this accident.
But, yeah, absolutely, Milty. That was some major accident. That's an FSB. That's a Pro Cup accident, Milty. Not an Aero accident. That was a Pro Cup level accident right there. You got to tip your hat to Dino. I mean, knowing who Robert Bochum is, he knows he's the points leader. He knows he wins and he's a champion. He just cut the wheel, knowing that he probably is going to wreck, just so he didn't get into the back and ruin another fellow racer's night. And you gotta respect the guy for doing something like that. That's not easy to do. Some guys would have taken the medicine and bumped Bochum there, because it probably would have done a lot worse to him than you. And
absolutely.
That's an awesome move by Dino at the expense of his ride, which I'm sure is worse for wear.
Oh, that thing's tore up.
He's still driving. He's coming out onto the back out onto the racing surface, but the back end is mashed in. There's I think some repair being done on the catch fence, and just a huge wreck.
I'm going to grab me a couple cold ones. And
absolutely, as we circle
I'll
this.
Be right back.
Lights are finally out on the pace car, though, and through all this happening, the 5 and the 23, the 23 car, Jim Scharf, assuming second place here. Sean Johnson now our new leader. Wonder if those guys pitted. There's been so many cautions here. Very un-FSB-like race. These guys pride themselves on green flag racing and green flag stops. And right now we're on lap 29, and we see all the retirees from damage and wrecking. The 51 of Dave Chandry's out. The 88 of Joe Cutt. The 12 car. The 051 of Dan Bishop's out, and of course the 72 of Mike Pruitt also out. And as we go back to green flag racing, Sean Johnson leads them down. Jim Scharf second, Mark DeSenza third, Jeff Hale fourth. And Jim gets a little scrape of the wall there as he come out of 4. Very easy to do. Sometimes when you're right behind someone too, you can feel like a slight push in the front end as the air changes as you get close to that car in front of you. And the caution is out yet again.
Well, you saw some strategy moves there with Jim Scharf trying to... but that might not work out for him.
Well, I think it did, Milty, because the caution's out again.
Oh, he did scrape the wall there a little bit.
TG slow on the track. I don't know if...
Well, especially if you're looking at track position, you want to do something different than the other guys are doing, and this track is notorious for opening up opportunities as it has. It can either be real bad, or all of a sudden you can find yourself at the end with a chance to win.
And trying to see what caused this latest caution here, and oh, there it is. The 19 of Troy Higgins, Milty, went around again and into the outside wall all by himself. And I think that's all she wrote for him as well now.
Well, obviously, once these guys get damaged, the car is junk, and even with their great skill, just can't keep it from coming around with no rear downforce.
Yeah, absolutely, Milty. And we've seen how this play out several times now, and you can see the yellows come out quick.
That's cool.
The yellows,
why.
the yellows come out fast and furious here at Miami Homestead. We got a happy flag stand guy tonight.
Well, Kid Hansen's got to be. The cockpit's got to be full of doo doo there, because he's had a couple of oh, you know what moments.
Yeah, when you're when you see a wreck happening in front of you, Milty, obviously you've seen dozens and dozens of wrecks happen all around you, in them, on them, in front of you, behind you, and everything. But when you see that big wreck happening in front of you, and you make a move, or you cut down into the inside, or you run through the grass, and then you come out onto the other end of it, and you're clean, you really feel exhilarated. And by the same token, Milty, when the same thing happens in front of you and you try your best, and someone comes flying in from out of nowhere or slides down the track and clips you, and either ends your night or damages your car, you feel like it's really been stolen from you almost.
Yeah, and that's a skill. There's only so much you can do in a split second. Bam, bam, you got to make a decision. But that is a part of a skill that's part of sim racing is, what the real racers do is, I can remember for a long time when I'd be in that position, I would freeze, and over time and practicing and having those, in practice sessions and everything, learning how to have more self-control and focus. First thing you want to do is slow down, but you don't want to wreck yourself. But at the same time, you have to make a decisive move to avoid contact. And i.e. the 9, we've seen him do it twice already, both with getting on the brakes. It's the first thing we ask is try to slow the car down, and the slower you get, the less damage you're going to have. Plus, the odds of just going through the smoke and going, "Oh, I'm going to come out on the other side." You can make it, Cole. That's not going to work. You have to slow her down and then try to take evasive action.
Yeah, we'll scroll through the field here, Milty. The 5 of Sean Johnson is our leader. 23 of Jim Scharf in the bright pink Freightliner ride. Can't miss him on the track. Jesus. The 6 of Mark DeSenza in third. And there's the 29 of Jeff Hale in the SS. That's a sharp-looking ride, Milty, with that chrome in front, don't you think? It looks like Christine's coming at you.
Absolutely.
And there's the crazy Canuck Derby Don Corsten. Checkers or Wreckers Monte Carlo, 49 car. 303 at Ken Ron, GoPro Chevy, Boca Motorsports. 54 Bill Yarbrough. I do not have paint for Bill yet. Probably get it in the off season, so we'll be ready to go for next season.
He's trying to do it, but he's really struggling with the file manager, and
yeah, it's a little tricky.
Not really sure why,
Yeah, it's a little tricky. The 26 Bill Martino. Haven't called his name out yet tonight in the Pepsi Max Pontiac. I don't think Jeff Gordon would agree with the brand choice, but I think he would agree with the sponsor choice.
Well, and Bill had Martino had all kinds of issues with his steering wheel, and we see now that he's starting to show what he can do on the track.
Yeah.
Once you got a rig that's working right.
And here we see the 44 Mark Favorites wreck, bashed in radiator area there, front grille, bashed in headlight. Rust all over the cool blue Pabst Blue Ribbon car. Pass me a Pabst, Milty. I'm dying of thirst here.
Well, we're drinking Budweiser here, but that's old school right there. And that's Rosie Greer, one of my favorite Rams, and I'm sure you would agree, being a L.A. Ram fan all those years. Old fart like me, well, not quite as old, but Rosie Greer was the man, and he could knit like you wouldn't believe. One of the fearsome foursome right there.
Yeah, absolutely. You gotta love Rosie Greer. He's also Robert Kennedy's bodyguard, Milty, and busted up the dude who shot Robert Kennedy down in downtown L.A. So Rosie was a well-traveled man.
I've got a pennant. You can't even read it anymore. L.A. Rams, and I got a football somewhere. Autographed by Roman Gabriel, and the pennant was autographed by Rosie Greer, Merlin Olsen, and a lot of the other Rams, Jack Snow. But anyway, here we go back to racing.
Back to racing, Jim Sharp. Yeah, Jim Sharp on point, and he continues to lead. But Mark DeSenza really putting pressure on him, and Jim is maybe not used to seeing a whole field of 20. Oh, and Mark gets a little out of shape, and we're into the wall again. Jeff Hale, Derby Don, and Mark DeSenza all involved, and still some wrecking. I think Robert Bokum might have got a little bump there. Every car keeps going, and another pile up there. Looked like Mark either got bumped as they were going into the turn or got a little loose, Milty.
Well, we're seeing that guys are really struggling with this setup and cold tires. Mark just went in there too hard and had to stab the brakes, and that's just carnage for three of the guys that could have won this race.
Yeah,
they still could, but it's going to shake it up, man. We're going to have some new players in this deal here.
Yeah,
who can manage the cold tires, the loose setup, and their steering settings, and in combination, and get through this thing, man. You gotta finish first to finish first.
To finish first, you must first finish.
First finish, that's it. Yep.
Come on, Milty. I have a sheet here of all the appropriate racing sayings.
The six guy
I just
he drove it in too hard there. It looks like.
Yeah, before
29 was dogging him there.
Before every Aero 88 race, since it's throwback series, Milty, I do watch Days of Thunder and get a few Robert Duvall catchphrases to throw in here on the broadcast.
You know, I was watching the movie Bullet the other day, and Robert Duvall was a cab driver in that. Steve McQueen, my mom was asking me the other day, do you remember when you rode on Steve McQueen's motorcycle? I was like 7 years old. No, I don't remember. But anyway.
And here we see some cars toward the back of the field. I would suspect Robert Bokum might have maybe a hammer's worth of damage. Maybe not. But certainly I think he wanted to get tires. I think he had to take a little evasive action there to avoid those guys sliding down from the wall down to the bottom of the track. It's a kind of a self-cleaning track, Milty. If you get wrecked up against the wall, you tend to want to slide down.
Well, Bokum is, if there was a Donkey Bop award, don't give up, that would be Bokum, because it's easy to say because he's, about to become the champion, and he's a multiple champion, but he manages, damage, and he has, a great way of handling damage control and physically with the car, and also leading his team at the same time. I mean, you got to take your hat off to what Bokum Motorsports has done this season in all these series. Do it with class and clean, and they never give up, and they work as good as any team has ever done in the history of this league. All about the leader there, his attitude, his sportsmanship, and obvious skills. He's going to run until that thing is till the run is done. We're seeing a big time trend here, and what that trend is these guys got their hands full and it's obvious. You're seeing it from the front to the back. Champions, ex-champions, multiple champions, rookies. They're all struggling with this deal here. So, who's gonna master it and put themselves in a position to win? That's, as a racer, that's what you want to do, is put yourself in the position to win at the end.
Yeah, and the wrecking yard here at Miami Homestead is. I just got a message from the guys down there. They said the cars are filling up faster than they can crush them down into scrap metal, Milty. We got cars bleeding all over this track, and we only have now 16 cars on the lead lap. Bunch of retirees, a couple cars laps down. 303 of Ken Ron, now the new leader. 54 Bill Yarbrough second, and 26 of Bill Martino up to third, Milty. And look who's in fourth, Dan Francisconi making his move. Shrewd use of these caution laps has put Den up now to the front of the field. Nice job by Den.
We've seen Den win this year. Ken Ron won last week. Some guys that have had up and down seasons. When we talk about all these guys are capable of winning, we're just not saying that. It's not fodder, like we're just saying it to say it. It's really possible. Let's see what happens.
Very much is possible, and Ken looking good. In fact, if I recall my practice times correctly, Milty, I think Ken was either second or third on the speed chart. So he knows how to get around this track, and he knows how to get around it quick. And we can see the 5 of Sean Johnson now going back into pit lane. Certainly an unscheduled stop for the 5 car, Milty. Don't know if a black flag might have played involved there, or if something happened to the car. We'll keep following the action here. The 303 of Ken Ron is still in the lead. The 54 of Bill Yarbrough second, and 26 of Bill Martino, and 16 of Dan Francisconi battling side by side for the third position. Working that inside is very difficult here, Milty.
Well, the deal about this track is we haven't seen. I've been getting ready to say this a couple times, but we haven't had a long enough green flag run. But the inside works here as the tires wear. Right now, the outside is the preferred line, but later in the run, unless you can master it, which I like that inside. Later in the run, after about 15 laps, 20 laps, then that inside starts to come in, as opposed to what the other guys are doing, because they start to push and find that wall. Car becomes freer as the tires wear. Right now it's way too loose. You got to keep it up there.
Boy. Yeah, TG Reese goes for a ride, trying to keep up with the leaders to get a lap back there, and he spun down to the inside wall. But let me see here, looking at the guys here, the speeds are still up, and caution is out though. Caution is out.
Well, you can see,
You'll be seeing that in a second, Milty.
Yeah.
But
53 is just jiggly there. Just really, he's almost snapped loose. He was like loose the 2 corners before he lost it there, and he backs her in hard into the wall there.
And pit stops are going to be taking place here. Ken Ron brings Bill Yarbrough with him, Dan Francisconi, the 191 of Mike Sanders also in, as is the 26 of Bill Martino, Bill Weber, 9 of Ken Hansen. They're all coming down pit lane now.
I like the car language I see from the 54 and the 16. They seem really smooth. I haven't seen them get loose there. Of course, the leader, Ken Ron, is looking that way too. But the 54 is a sly dog, man. He's won in everything you can win in. And it's competed in iRacing and running Porsches and GTP let's see what happens in the pits here.
Yeah, Bill Yarborough, this race is now really wide open for him, and I think this is the kind of race that he likes to win. It's been a dicey race. You kind of have to muscle the car a little. You might be trading a little paint here and there. And Ken Ron beats him off pit lane. So great pit stop by Ken and Bill there. 29 to Jeff Hale, still involved here, Milty. Not a whole heck of a lot of damage, I think, there. And I think if he spent the time to get it fixed, I think he can still be competitive, Milty.
This would be a time to do it.
And there we see the rest of the guys rejoining the track. Bill Martino, Robert Bokum is...
Yarborough looks locked in, man. When he's like that, man, you better watch out.
He does.
Bill Martino there, mixed in with these pros here. Execution is everything, and from the track to the pits, and so far the 26 crew is handling the pressure against these great drivers. We don't really have a big notebook on the 26 and what he can do on the track, but we're seeing some pretty good stuff here so far. I hope I don't jinx him.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's enough, Milty. Let's move on. But who we do have a huge, thick, voluminous book on is the 18 of Robert Bokum, Milty. And he's now up into the top 10. He's in 7th. And
he's got damage.
He may or may not. I know he was.
We've seen him.
He was involved. He was involved in the areas of some incidents. I never definitively saw him take damage, but he could possibly have a little. It doesn't seem to affect what he needs to do, though, and he's driven his car from 25th to 7th so far, Milty.
I think the loser in the pits a little bit was the 16. Dropped a couple spots there, but really at this point we're only at lap 48.
We're not even halfway.
It's not really a concern here.
No, not at all.
Doing what he's doing, which is keeping his car clean.
Yeah,
putting himself in the position to win.
Den's whole philosophy is clean racing. Don't push it. If I'm there with 10 laps to go, then I'll do what I need to do. And it pays off for him because he gets a ton of top 10 finishes.
Absolutely. What was the track he won at? Kentucky, was it? Very similar type of.
Yeah, I'd have to look back because I can't really tell you off the top of my head. But yeah, this is his type of track. It's a rhythm track, Milty, and with all these cautions, unfortunately for Den, he's not able to get into that rhythm that I think he feels the most comfortable at, when he can log lap after lap and get into that rhythm that I know he's talked about that he likes to get into. That's when he's at his best. All these starts and stops and pits, and I think that doesn't play to his strengths, unfortunately. So hopefully we can get a green flag run here, Milty.
We got Sean John lap down.
Yeah.
He's going to be looking to get this lap back, and if he's got a good car, he's definitely capable of it.
He is. Unfortunately, they're both showing 2 laps down. I think they both made an unscheduled. Well, TG had, of course, was involved in an incident earlier on, but Sean had to make an unscheduled stop for some reason, Milty, and maybe we'll find out eventually. But not sure why he had to do that. But he did, and of course, making a green flag stop here with this access road, with those cars up to 180 miles an hour, you can lose laps quickly.
Yeah, this is one of our great tracks here as we go green here. The day to night, you see the weather changing. Now it's getting completely dark here as you see the clouds overhead, and we're gonna have to see if the track temperature changes a little bit, because they're already loose. They could make them even looser.
Yes, it could, Milty. And Sean does get off to a good start. and does pull out in front of our leader, Mark DeSenza. So Sean Johnson is able to gain one of his 2 laps back currently. Derby Don, from that incident, has now all the way up to second. So Derby either fixed that damage or really didn't get a lot. So great to see Derby up at the front, but Ken Ron making a move onto the inside. Just some great action here at the front of the field. Derby Don and Ken Ron. Oh, and Jeff Hale gets loose and into Bill Martino, and both hard into the outside wall.
Oh,
and Jeff Hale's night is over, and hopefully Bill's is not. I'm sure the caution is out. But they're racing back to the line here. I'm sure Sean will manage to keep ahead of him, and he does. So Sean Johnson is only now 1 lap down, Milty. And just as you said, he's capable of doing it. He just did it. He got one of his 2 back and did what he had to do.
Yeah, and the leaders weren't going to fight him because they, as we saw, Hale just lose it there. Already had damage. I'm not really seeing these guys trying to be aggressive. They're just losing it, you know.
Yeah, this must.
Losing it.
I usually try to run, half a dozen laps or a dozen laps just to get a feel for it, so I can kind of explain what it's like for these guys. I didn't do that run. Maybe I'm glad I didn't, because I probably would have wrecked so many times I wouldn't have been able to tell anyone anything.
Well, the thing is, with a loose setup, a loose, fast setup, they're good setups, but you have to. It's not like Rookie Cup setups where you can just lift, roll, and plant the gas. You have to keep a certain amount of gas on. You have to lift earlier. You have to back the corner up, and then keep the gas on to keep the rear end from coming around, and then ease the throttle on. These cars don't have the 850 horsepower that the Pro Cup cars have, but they've got enough to crash, as we see.
Yeah,
probably
these
about
are
700.
Yeah, I was about to say 750. I think on the old Cup cars from the 80s, which were just some really neat cars. And there we see Bill Martino in his pits getting some attention from the crew. He did get into the wall fairly hard there, so hopefully he can stay competitive, because he was looking good there, Milty. He was up where he needed to be, and he was keeping the right pace. But unfortunately, that's racing. Sometimes the guy in front of him got a little loose and collected him, and that's unfortunate.
Well, all you can do is do what you can control, and what you can control is what you've done on the track. And I think that no matter what happens, the rest of this race can really look forward to some good runs with the way they manage this setup and the cars they're racing against. That's what you have to do when bad things happen. Mad, you can't, disrespect anybody. You can't, you got to look at the positives to improve. And
yeah,
I'm sure
absolutely.
that's what they'll do.
And you got to know who your people are around you, Milty. Jeff Hale is the last guy that would ever do anything insane.
His car was junk.
He probably had some damage. He had a winning. I mean, he literally had a winning race car tonight. And when you have that winning car, and you can feel it, Milty. You've won tons of races. I've only won maybe 3 or 4. So I'm definitely not one to speak about this, but when you have a winning car and when you don't. And sometimes a win can fall in your lap, of course, but when you have that winning car and you're in a position where you say, you know what, I got this field covered. It's as long as everything stays the way I'd like it to, I'm gonna win this race. And then it gets taken away from you, or it's hard to let that go. So when you go back out on the track with some damage, you're still thinking that you have that winning car still. And then you find out that you don't when you get back into the wall.
Well, and all this is in the minds of all these guys. Um, they got to be current a little bit, because these cars are coming around, and you're driving a 3,500-pound car. You're listening to the motor and your tires, and especially with not getting enough green flag runs to really settle in. Every restart is like reborn. You have to. The unknown is out there, and who will deal with it the best is who's going to win this race.
That's correct. And speaking of that, the 5 of Sean Johnson will now reassume his spot on the inside lane. He's just one lap down now. And I think he feels there's going to be a few more cautions. And if he can get back out ahead of his... And remember, the 5 and the 6 car are teammates. So if the 5 car can keep the speed, I think Mark will be content to let him basically lead, we'll say, at the sake of him not losing first place, of course.
Well, I can't remember what race it was. We've broadcast so many, but there was a car that was earlier in the season that was 2 laps down and went back to win. So as long as you got a good car, you got a shot.
Oh, absolutely.
These guys they're not going to fight it.
And
the leaders aren't going to fight.
Green flags out in a very poor restart formation for the 49 at Derby Don, who's I don't know if Don forgot that the green flag was coming out or not, but he had about a 10 car length gap between him and Mark DeSenza, and Mark has now pulled out to a fairly large lead because of that. In fact, he got around Sean Johnson as well, so Sean cannot get that lap back currently. I don't know what Derby was thinking there. Maybe he was drinking a kokanee or something. But the race continues, and no one ran over anyone, so that's good news. Sometimes that can happen when the field stacks up. But Sean now has gotten around Mark DeSenza, but has in doing that has brought Derby Don to the forefront, and Derby now from about that 10 car length back is now into the lead. Milty, Derby Don's car's on a rail.
Obviously, even though he was in that big smash up with Hale and I think it was the 18 there, the FSB crew fixed it, and you can see a little bit of rear damage on that car.
Yes, you can, and he gets a little loose there coming off of 2. Milty, he was we were reading the numbers of the car there for a second. You don't want to do that on the straightaways. You don't want to see the number come around on you, and it did. But he's a Derby driver. He knows how to save a car. Come on.
Well, he's a heck of a stock car driver too. The problem is what's to happen. It doesn't go away. It gets worse and worse because you're eating up those rear tires. Wow, and
woo!
Wow.
Bill Yarbrough all over the back of TG Reese. Got TG out of shape, it looked like. But he backed off. It looked like allowed TG to gather it back up. And we continue on. But Bill Yarbrough's, him very well, Milty. He likes to get in front of you. If he thinks he's the faster car, he's gonna put that car ahead of you some way, somehow.
Well, we seen him consistently finish well, and last year he beat me in the 2.4 hours of Le Mans, and he did it with consistent driving on the daunting 8.48 mile track, and he can do it all.
And some great racing going on all through the field here. The 303 of Ken Ron now makes a move to the inside, and he takes the lead over the 6 car Mark DeSenza, but he slides up a little high in doing that pass. Let's see if he can hold on to it. The 6 and the 49 are ready to pounce. The 53 of TG Reese, who is, I think, 2 laps down, but his car is fast, man. And as soon as I say it, I jinx him. And Dan gets into the back of him, and TG's into the wall. Then keeps going. TG slides down.
This is a bar fight right here, man.
We stay green for the first time.
You got black eyes. You got.
Oh my goodness.
You got broken noses, and so many of these guys are beat up. We can't keep track of who got punched where, and they're all still fighting.
Yeah, and unfortunate, real bad break there for Dan, who had a fairly good ride.
That was a great chance at a save there for EG, but Dan had nowhere to go.
Yeah.
That's definitely going to hurt.
Yeah, maybe a little front end damage there for Dan. Hopefully no motor damage. But Sean Johnson continues to lead the pack. Sean now on the tail end of the lead lap, Milty. Ken Ron now our new leader. Mark DeSenza second. Derby Don third. And a great battle right behind Derby Don. The 54 of Bill Yarbrough and the 191 of Mike Sanders. And the 18 of Robert Bokum now all have joined the fray. And it's some tight, hard racing right now.
Yeah, you're looking at some of these guys from fifth on back. Yarbrough, we know he has no damage. We got the 191, Michael Sanders, we mentioned earlier, and he's had bad luck. But now he's in the meet coming up to the halfway point here. He's starting to make a move here to look.
Yeah, this front pack, the 303 of Ken Ron is the clean car. Mark may or may not have a clean car. We saw him get a little loose there before, but he's still racing very fast. Derby Don was involved. As you said, Bill Yarbrough seems to be clean right now. Robert Bokum may have been involved. Mike Sanders, I think, has been around a few, but I think he's clean as well. So there's some banged up cars, some clean cars, but they're all fast cars, Milty.
Well, and I'm, noticing the 191 is able to run that bottom line, and what you can adjust in this game is many. When you have a setup that's loose, you can tighten the car up a little bit with your steering ratio and your. There's a bunch of different settings.
You can recalibrate your wheel to account for maybe a little looseness.
And you can actually do that under caution. I've definitely done it before when I missed my setup a little bit. At least you can change your steering assist or to try to compensate a little bit.
Yeah, you can do that, and yeah, you can do that under a yellow flag, let's say stop, without losing too much time as well. So yeah, it behooves you if you feel like you're on the ragged edge every single lap to maybe smooth it out a little. And there are a few ways you can do it. It is a fixed setup, so you can't change any wedge or anything like that, but you can certainly, like you said, change your steering ratio, recalibrate your wheel real quick. There's a steering, throttle, and brake assist that you can play with. So lots of stuff you can still do.
And then there's the 18 who runs basically the same setup with his wheel. Of course, he's got a very good wheel, but he's also got very good talent. And
I think
he talks about
the
gas pedal is your number one. And Robert runs practice sessions that are open for people, and he's always teaching, and I'm always listening. And you see him manage a damaged car and still in the meat of this battle.
Yeah, and you can see this
here.
Yeah, and you can see his skill in action right here as he gets to the side of Bill Yarbrough. It's very difficult to pass to the inside as he's finding out as Bill stays side by side with him. And Derby Don right there, the 6 of Mark DeSenza, Dog Balmer now going a lap down is involved here. On the outside, it's a scramble as cars flying all over the track here at Homestead.
Well, the dog ain't going to give up till the dog is whooped, and that's how he rolls,
That's how he rolls.
He knows how to get out the way, and when he doesn't have a car to win.
And as we see, Bill Yarbrough's not about to let the Robert Bokum issue be settled yet. He dives to the inside of Robert and I think he wanted to let him know he's still there. I know Bill doesn't like getting passed, so even if the great Robert Bokum passes you, that doesn't sit well with Bill Yarbrough, and he's battling back very valiantly here and carrying Mike Sanders with him.
Well, these guys are just now starting. This is the longest run we've had, so they're just now seeing what their cars can do. And you see Bill go down low, like I was talking about late, as the, once you get the tires settled in, you can start to work the bottom line, and you not necessarily can make a pass right away, but you want to get down there and feel the experience of that, because later in the run, that's going to be your passing point.
Yeah, I hope these guys start racing single file again, because I just have a bad feeling about the way these guys are shuffling around here. That
it's a bar fight, man.
Disaster waiting to happen here. But the 303 of Ken Ron continues to lead, but Robert Bokum is just making Swiss cheese of this field right now. He's got the best car, damage or no damage. He's moving up. He's passing, looks like a car every lap. And now he's leaning on his teammates hard here, right on the back bumper of Mark DeSenza as he dives underneath him. And that's the way you make a pass here at Homestead, right there. You dive to the inside, you carry your momentum down the hill, then you drift right back up in front of the guy that you just passed. That's a beautiful pass by Robert Bokum, teammate or no teammate.
Absolutely. And fans, you wonder how he did that. What he did was he backed the corner up just a hair earlier than the 6, let the car roll, and was able to get on the gas sooner to execute the pass.
And Derby Don is on pit lane, Milty. I think his tires were howling for him, and I think he realized that he was going to be losing time. And interesting move by Derby Don here. Green flag stop, I guess, is officially beginning, Milty, with Derby Don. We're on lap 76 of 107, so this could be will be his last stop too, possibly. Maybe he hit a window. Derby Don maybe gambling there.
Well, without being able to, like I normally can, watching live, I haven't been able to tell how far they've run since the last pit stop. So, with all these cautions, a green flag stop is not what you want to do unless it's absolutely necessary.
Well, we figure they're gonna, as this run starts having a look of a green flag run, maybe Derby said, you know what, my car's no good. I gotta get new tires. And he figures, you know what, my cars will be junk at the end of the race, but that's my last stop. And he's coming back out, and away he goes. And let's see if it pays off for him, Milty. We're gonna keep an eye on that.
Okay, so this is lap 77 of 104. That's you're definitely in the window. So that
back to the live leader action here. Ken Ron continues to lead, but Mike Sanders on the outside is making that outside line work much better than the guys trying to work that inside line, Milty. Mike Sanders has found something on that outside, and he gets around Robert Bokum, which is not something I say very often, that anyone gets around Robert Bokum, but Mike Sanders just powered on the outside by him. And he sets his sight on leader Ken Ron, and he goes to the inside now, Milty. It's going to be a tough pass, though, and if he doesn't get it done, absolutely. I think he's going to lose that second position, and it looks like that's exactly what happened. This track, it really punishes a failing move to pass.
Absolutely.
And you can see that's really stacked up the field now. Robert Bokum back to second, Mike Sanders to third, and Jim Shaw fourth, Mark Favorite up to fifth. Ken Hansen, Milty, another guy that I think has that philosophy. I'm going to hang back. I'm going to let the race come to me. And now with just 25 laps to go, Ken Hansen makes an appearance in the top 10, and he's looking to go to the top 5 right now, Milty.
Yeah, and he's running that bottom line, and what bottom line does is it makes you, once the car's starting to tighten up, it makes you have to get out of the gas, which is, you may lose some time to begin with, but being he's back there, he can pick it up on the straightaway in the draft, see him dive down again. It forces you to slow down, and it saves tires.
And we see the 303 and the 23 on the access road. And Jim Sharp makes a pass on the access road, but goes into the outside pit lane wall as he gets down. He paid the price for that pass on Ken Ron, which you can do, Milty. You can pass on that access lane. And we see Jim Sharp aggressively go around Ken Ron, and he'll get into the pits faster that way, but he took a little chunk of the pit lane wall with him, though. Hopefully that doesn't affect his car. But an aggressive move by Jim Sharp. I like seeing that, Milty.
Yeah, I've been there, done that, and also hit that wall like that. That's not going to do him any good, hitting that wall. And he didn't. And Ken Ron does get back on time.
Yeah, and you can see the preferred pit spot for Ken Ron made the biggest difference. And
that's a great show by the 23, though. Heck for it.
I like that he's trying to do everything he can to get something done here. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
And as you see, they have now exited the access road back onto the track. The leaders here, everything's really scrambled up. Robert Bokum currently showing as your leader. Now the 26 of Bill Martino showing as your leader as pit stops continue now in earnest. A full slew of green flag stops now, Milty. So Derby Don may be onto something here, Milty. As Bill Yarbrough in the pits. We got Mike Sanders in the pits. Steve Webb in the pits. Mark Favorite's in the pits as well. And a bunch of leaders in there. Was our leader, Robert Bokum, exiting pit. And him and Bill Yarbrough drag race off a pit lane. So they're still stuck together, and I think Bill's going to make another stab at him as they leave pit lane on the access road there and get back onto the track. And we'll see where everyone joins back up here.
Yeah, we'll see. There is some draft to be said here, so we'll see those guys running on worn-out tires versus Derby with freshies. How it plays out.
Yeah, we see Derby is up to 10th in this running order. Of course, everything's going to keep getting jumbled. Bill Martino is showing as your leader. Last guy to pit, I believe, is Bill Martino. Now Derby showing up to 5th. So early pit stop by Derby has brought him up to 5th place so far. But he's right in the hunt, too, just 3 seconds off Robert Bokum. So maybe this has paid off slightly for Derby. Of course, he's going to have more worn tires now. Milty, come the end of the race 22. If we stay green.
Absolutely. There's still 22 laps left. I'm going to step away just for a sec. I'll be right back.
So we see our leader there now is Robert Bokum, and Bill Yarbrough is second. So that is a battle for the lead. And they have somewhat separated. They're looking back. We can see the 303 of Ken Ron. Right there, and the 5 of Sean Johnson, 1 lap down, unfortunately for Sean, but he's got a fast car, and there's Derby Don, who made that basically the first of the green flag stops. Mark DeCenza right behind Derby, and we see back to the leaders here, Robert Bokum, Bill Yarbrough, they're nose to tail. So Bill was able to catch that draft, as Milty said, and hook back up with Robert. And they're going to try to drive away from the rest of this field, and Bill makes a move to the inside here. And again, making a move to the inside is risky if you can't pull it off. And Robert's going to run his line and run his race. But I know Bill really wants to lead this race, you can tell. And he's battling side by side here with Robert Bokum. This is going to allow the rest of the pack to gather back up, as we see the 303 of Ken Ron now is right with him. So Bill, if did nothing, he brought some more cars into the fray. And that is the 303 of Ken Ron. There's the 5 of Sean Johnson, of course, one lap down. But everyone closing in. Derby Don, Mark DeSenza, Jim Sharp, Ken Hansen, and the last car there on this lead pack, we'll call it, Steve Webb, the big cactus, making an appearance. And another guy that slowly is making his way to the front, and he's in the top 10 now. And as the laps wind down, he's going to try to get into the top 5, and who knows. And that's been Webb's game this season, and he's run it very nice tonight.
Yeah, we haven't hardly mentioned him, and he's been just right there keeping his car clean along with Ken Hansen, and they're working the 23 right now.
Yeah, and Bill Yarbrough really working the 18 of Robert Bochum. Robert probably not accustomed to getting so much pressure from behind. Usually it's not the case, or usually it's a teammate behind him like Mark DeSenza or Ken Ron or Sean Johnson or those guys. But Bill Yarbrough is certainly not a teammate of Robert Bochum.
Bill's such a great driver, man.
He's really working the back bumper of Robert Bochum here. Very impressive, as you can see.
He's a consummate pro. He has. There's not a scratch on that 54, and he has worked it. And the 18's got his hand full here. We know he's got some damage. He got it fixed, and his skill and strategy has helped him. And let's see what happens.
Looks like we got a caution out here, Milty.
Oh, and that's the king. There goes the wrench into the big machine here. Now what's going to happen?
And possibly Mark DeSenza may have... he comes flying down pit lane, Milty, at top speed. Yeah, and the back end of Mark DeSenza's car is bashed in. I think he's going to take his... and he disconnects, Milty. So Mark DeSenza out of the race. He has some severe rear-end damage, and...
tough luck for the 6.
Yeah, and we've said that a few times this season, Milty, but man, the retirements in this race are just got 10, now 11 cars out of the race, Milty, which is very high for an FSB race.
It is, and it's the competition level plus the challenge of this track. Immense.
And Robert Bochum was able to hold off Bill Yarbrough as they catch up with the pace car and settle back in under yellow here. 93 of 107, Milty. So just 15 laps. Looks like no takers on pit road, of course. You can't give up that track position now.
Well, if you're back there around where Jim Sharf is, or
but get the one person, or Derby Don. This is a big break for Derby Don.
There's some cars coming in now.
Yeah, Derby Don's in getting fresh tires. I think that's the right play by Derby Don. He's going to lead that pack off of pit lane as well. So he'll still get a preferred starting position, and he's got freshies, Milty.
And he's got freshies.
Oh, Derby Don.
He's got damage. Oh, that's...
the wily French Canadian. But yeah, Derby, let's put it this way, Milty. If you were in his situation, this is about as good a scenario as could be for Derby right now.
Absolutely. He had to roll the dice, you just can't stay status quo and accept your fate. This is a bar fight, like I said, and you can't just let somebody beat on you. You gotta do something, So
yeah,
let's do it.
This has really almost fallen into Derby's lap now. He's gonna restart, I believe, 5th.
Derby.
Milty. He's gonna restart 5th with fresh tires, and everyone in front of him didn't pit for anything, not even a 2-tire change. So basically he's got the top 4 on about 10-lap tires, and then Derby Don and everyone behind Derby Don basically on the lead lap with freshies. This is going to be really interesting.
Him and the 83 and the 9, and they need to work together and The 26 has got damaged, but he's fought a good fight, man.
He sure has. He's managed
first real time I've got to see the 26 in action, and I'm very impressed.
I am as well. I have raced a few races against him in the rookie series. Unfortunately for Bill, like you said, he's been having some technical difficulties with computers, etc. So haven't had a real chance. But I believe he even won a rookie race, Milty. So he's very capable, and you can see that the fact that he's took an unfortunate hit tonight and managed to not only stay on the lead lap, but really stay competitive. On top of that, only 9 cars on the lead lap out of 25 that started, Milty, and he's one of those 9, and that's all you can ask for right now. With 13 to go, if you're one of 9 cars on the lead lap, you're feeling good. You think, man, anything could happen.
Well, you know, the great Robert Bocum, and there's no hesitation in saying that. This guy's awesome on and off the track, and, you know, can he deal with the 54 or can he not? You know, it's gonna be.
I'll tell you,
it's gonna be good.
We're gonna take a restart right on the outside of 10 laps, which is why is that a big deal? Well, it's a big deal because Sean Johnson and Mike Sanders, who are a lap down, now have the opportunity to start up with the leaders. If it was inside 10 laps, they'd have to start on the rear of the field. So a break here, possibly. For everyone but Robert Bocum, this could work to other racers' advantage, Milty. If they scramble the leaders up a little and you're 5th, 6th, 7th place, you could all of a sudden find yourself right in the thick of things.
Little gamesmanship before they lined up. They all know what a crazy bar fight this is, what a crazy race this is, and you know, before the leaders were letting the lap guys by because they knew there's probably going to be a caution and there was no sense in fighting. Now they're going to give them no quarter.
Yeah, no, of course, as we just said earlier, Milty, teammates, Sean Johnson and Robert Bocum. Will Sean fall on his sword here and kind of fall away? Or will he race for that lead lap position?
In our team, at this point now, you can't expect Robert to lay down for you. You got to realize, you know, either got to earn it and take it, or you know, take your place back lap down.
Well, I think the answer was Sean took it. And so did Mike Sanders as they both get... Oh, and Robert slightly into the wall as Mike Sanders moved up in front of him, and I don't know if there was contact between the two, but certainly Wall and Robert Bocum did contact each other, and Bill Yarbrough were all over the back, and it scrambled the field behind him as they anticipated possible wreck happening and took evasive action. But now Bill Yarbrough on the inside of Robert Bocum and trying to finally make this pass around him that he's been trying to do for about 20 laps now, and he still is unable to do it, and that allows Ken Ron to make a slingshot move down to the inside and see if Ken Ron can make it work, and he cannot make it work on the inside with these fresh tires, Milty. Only 5, 6, 7, 8 lap old tires. That outside line is the preferred line still, it looks like.
The Derby needs this thing to stay green. And
and Derby's spinning. Derby went for a spin, and he keeps going. I don't know if the caution. I can't tell if the caution is out. Derby did a 360 in front of right in the middle of the pack, and I don't even think touched anything, Milty.
Yeah, don't try this at home. He's
unbelievable, and he gets the benefit of the caution. With still 8 laps remaining, they will get a restart here.
Yeah, his tires are toast now, though.
Uh-oh, Bill gets a little out of shape there.
Whoa,
Billy.
He lifted off the ground. The air got under the car there. Good thing that sucker didn't go over.
Yeah, we're going to have to take another look at that. I can't believe Derby isn't wrecked.
Bill Martineau, again, in the mix of the action there, and survives. This is falling, now it's falling into the 18s, and But
Yeah, and let's take
it's
another look
anything
at this.
over that.
Let's take another look at this incident
Oh,
here. Derby gets a little high, but he gets a huge run, and
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
hard to tell what happened there. Derby got a huge run on the outside.
Martino got loose as they took the caution and saved it. He did lock him up. Derby's got to go in and get tires. He's pretty much knows that. But is this two on Derby? Does he have 2 inks? Might he have to park it?
That's a tough call there. Derby had a run on Jim Sharf. Went down to the inside to make a pass.
Whoa!
And unfortunately for Derby, Ken Hansen was onto his inside, I think unbeknownst to Derby. And as he made that move to pass Jim Sharf, contact with the 9 car of Ken Hansen, Derby basically 360s the car.
He
bumps the wall.
He tried to get
and keeps going.
23 in the last minute. He saw 9 there and he got contact there.
Yeah, that's a racing deal there, in my opinion. I wouldn't call that an incident on either of them. I think Derby was in the only place he could be, or he would have wrecked Jim Sharf. And
absolutely,
you can't tell a guy, well, just run into the back of him because you'll get an incident if you don't. But Derby was making an actual pass there, and just a little door-to-door action there.
So yeah, that's a tough call, especially Derby being an admin too. Not that admins. We from time to time we have to eat the bullet too.
Yeah, I would if I was of course I'd probably want to look at it a couple more times, but from the angles that I saw, Milty, it really looked like it was just a door-to-door racing contact. It wasn't anyone's fault per se, like a guy looping the car and collecting another car or something like that, obviously. Just Derby had a tremendous run on the outside, and he just cut the wheel down, and because he was moving so fast, he was going to go to the inside of Jim Sharf and finish the move, but unfortunately Ken Hansen was thinking the same thing.
These guys put on a show or what? I was
I'm
watching
exhausted.
Your broadcast up there in Dutchby, and I was in the computer room, and my parents were watching like TV, and they could hear me yelling, going, yeah, come on, I was like, what a show. You're going to get a show. Every broadcast we have, you're going to get a show. These guys are going to race hard, and they do not disappoint.
They certainly don't, Milty. Lap 101 and 107. Lights are still on the pace car. Expect them to go off here as we hit the start-finish line. So that means, Milty, there will be a 5-lap shootout. And if you're Bill Yarbrough here, Milty, you've tried literally for the last 20 laps to pass Robert Bochum. And you've been door-to-door with him. You've actually even gotten ahead of him, but you've not been able to finish your pass. What are you thinking right now with just 5 laps to go?
Well, Robert is going to take that high line and drive it in hard like they have been, and Bill's been right on his deck lid, and Bill's going to have to take the inside move. Is the 303 going to go with him and try to get a little draft, and if they can put the pressure on the 18 and make him make a mistake,
yeah, come on, Milty, we're not at fantasy land at Disneyland today, Milty. That ain't gonna happen.
That way, if you're gonna make it, if you're gonna try to win the race, because the 18's not gonna defend low, he's gonna defend high wherever the rest of the guys want to be.
Well, now if you're Bill, do you restart this right up on him, or do you try to?
Absolutely.
You do want to crowd him a little here.
Absolutely. This is your intensity level right now. The restart of the mother of all restarts right here.
Yeah, this should be a
See
great
him get
restart. Robert
warming his
Bokum
tires up.
slowly. Robert Bokum really slow playing that restart there. It looked like green flag is out. Bill Yarbrough gonna try it again. Remember, no passing till the backstretch here, so Bill Yarbrough kind of lining them up here as we exit 2. And then all bets are off as we get to the backstretch. Cars will scramble. Bill makes a move to the inside. I know the 303 of Ken Ron's going to stay with Robert Bokum, their teammates. And that high line, but can Ken hold that line? He gets a little up into the gray there, Milty. And that's not where you want to be. And that gives Bill Yarbrough a nice run off of 4. And right back onto the back bumper of Robert Bokum, who he can just not find a way to get by. But Steve Webb here coming up strong, Milty.
Yeah, how about the 83 there? He's opportunity knocks, and he is there. And just like with the 23 and the 9 is battling the 23 there too.
Yeah, there's some battles going on all over here. Ken Hansen moving up nicely. Bill Martino still on the lead lap. Mike Sanders battling there. And there's Derby Don still trying to salvage a quality finish. And these guys are just racing tooth and nail here, Milty.
Bokum just knows what the competition is going to try to do, so he reacts. He can back the corner up, or he can drive it in. He's just a master at that, and he's going to be the champion of this series.
2 laps remaining. Bill Yarbrough still right in striking distance. I don't think Bill wants to make a move until he absolutely has to now. He knows by experience and trying that if you are not successful, you're going to get punished. And if you're going to get punished, he wants it to be at the checkered flag and not 2 laps in. So
look at this racing. Fantastic.
Yeah, the 83 is Steve Weber now pressuring Ken Ron for the 3rd position as Bill Yarbrough again makes a move to the inside on the white flag lap here, Milty. They go into turn 1 almost side by side. Billy. And Bill trying to get Robert a little loose on the outside, but Robert Bokum just the consummate driver.
He's not going to wreck it.
Unbelievable. Just powers around on the outside, takes the position back from Bill Yarbrough, who's going to have one more stab at it. And it's not going to matter. But Robert Bokum just powers off of turn 4 and says, not tonight, Bill. Maybe tomorrow. Robert Bokum, your winner. Bill Yarbrough, a solid, probably a disappointing for Bill, but a solid 2nd place. Steve Webb was just a great run on that last 5. Did get around Ken Ron and took a 3rd position, or just missed the 3rd position, excuse me. But what a great run by Webb. Started in the back and just got better. Every yellow flag he got a little better. He stayed clean. And what a great finish by Webb. 4th place.
Wow.
9 of Ken Hansen. Another top 5 for Ken. Another great run.
Absolutely.
The 5 of Sean Johnson battled back from 2 laps down, Milty. He finished at 6th. Great job by Sean. Derby Don, we saw the problems there toward the end, and he was able to get back to 7, so he actually lost a couple positions there in that battle with Steve Weber and Ken Hansen. So those guys were fast tonight, Milty, and Bill Martino bringing it home in 10th on the lead lap. Great finish by Bill.
83 goes up there to acknowledge the 18, and it couldn't be a nicer champion and winner, and I mean,
unbelievable.
You know,
unbelievable racing there.
Bill's probably got damn near as many seconds I do, and what that tells you is I've got over 200 wins in this league, and you know, I bet you I got probably 400 second place finishes. What that tells you is that, you know, if you're not going to win, you're going to finish second, because you're not going to wreck the guy in front of you. And Robert knew that, and Bill raced him clean. He went down low, tried to make it happen, and couldn't pull it off. But you know, that's what FSB racing is all about. It's hard racing and racing clean, and but not wrecking somebody at expense of getting a victory. And
Absolutely,
and you've
Melty.
seen that absolute great show again.
Yeah, it was what a great battle between Robert Bokum and Bill Yarbrough. Literally, Milty, I think the last 20 laps of Green Flag, they were either nose to tail or side by side for about 20 laps. And just
I see the 23
great effort there.
Way back.
Yeah, Jim Scharf got spun there as they went to the checkers, and unfortunately got spun around, got into the outside wall, and finished the last car on the lead lap in 11th. But some great runs by some of these guys that we maybe don't give enough FaceTime for Ken Hansen with a great run, Mike Sanders with a great run, Mark Favorite with a great run. All these guys finishing on the lead lap here was like you said, it was a bar fight, it was a war of attrition. 11 cars out of the race, which is highly unusual for FSB.
Yes, I don't think I've seen that all year.
Yeah, neither have I. And the who's who of FSB in those retirees: Mark DeSenza, Jeff Hale, T. Roy, Dave Jandry, Joe Cutt. So some quality racers also got bit here, Milty, with that loose setup and. Once they got dinged up, man, the cars just did not want to cooperate after that.
But you see, once they started getting the long runs, the setup was good. It was just the fact they couldn't get to the point where they could really start the race.
Absolutely. Well, Milty, this race went long with all those cautions, so we're gonna have to wrap it up pretty quickly here.
10-4.
So another great race. Hopefully Wednesday night, Milty, is our final Pro Cup event of the year, and we will crown Matt Watkins, I believe, the champion there. And still something to race for. There's still some point battles to be settled, second, third, fourth, and so on. But Matt Watkins should be taking a victory parade lap there around Charlotte. Come Wednesday, Milty, and hopefully you'll be able to be there with me.
I got a private message from Bokum. He said, "Now that was fun," and I'm asking if he had damage there, but we got to wrap this up. But
yeah,
I'm gonna be out of town. Hopefully, I can be back. My plan was to finish the tile job for my mom and my stepdad by Wednesday, but. We'll see, but
well, hopefully you can, Milty, and appreciate you joining us tonight, Milty. And I know you got a busy schedule going on, and
we appreciate you, man. You do a great job, and it's so fun. I look forward to it when I get off of work and all the stuff that's going on in real life, and I get to plan my night around. I have dinner up at my mom's, and then, fortunately, they got good internet and stuff. You get to watch your broadcast, and it's just fantastic.
Absolutely, Milty. So, great race, great battle between Robert Bokum and Bill Yarbrough. Some FSB veterans battling all the way to the checkered there, and Robert Bokum shows you why he's a multiple winner, multiple champion. Pulls it out by just a couple tenths of a second over Bill Yarbrough. And he will be our Aero 88 champion for this season. So congratulations to Robert Bokum in clinching an official championship here in the spring of 2014 season.
Well, apparently he had no damage. So he missed it by
that much.
Yeah, he said the hair of my chin.
All right, Milty. Well, appreciate you joining me. Cool. Get this thing off the books here so I can get it put back up onto that website. So fsbracing.com, check it out. Heading into our off season, lots of fun stuff. Great time actually to join because you'll be able to get your equipment hashed out. You'll be able to run some practice with the pros where, in rookie season you don't really get a chance to do that. So great time to join FSB Racing right now. Thanks, Milty.
Cool.